Hi, this is an open letter to the director of the upcoming film About Ray. About Ray is the story of a trans man's transition. That's pretty much the basics of it. Now, I'm really excited for this movie in general because it's a trans story being told in mainstream media, along with other things that have been very popular lately, things like Caitlyn Jenner's transition in her show I Am Kate, Laverne Cox, Janet Mock. We've got a lot of very noticeable trans celebrities, trans actors, and I'm really glad for the exposure things like that and things like this movie will bring trans people. I think this movie is a really important thing. I'm glad it's being made. You've got trans kids who maybe don't know what they are yet, and seeing stuff like this helps people to understand their identity. You've got people who their family or friends may be trans, and seeing stuff like this may help them understand more, may help them adjust. So on the whole, I'm really glad that this movie is being made, and I just want to say that. However, I take a lot of issue with the way the director, Gaby Dellal, I'm not entirely sure how to pronounce your last name, I'm sorry. I take a lot of issue with the way you talk about your character. Now, I need you to understand that you're writing the story of a trans man. A trans man is a guy. He is a guy no matter what he has undergone medically. He is a guy no matter if he is out or not. If you identify as a male, you are male. Personally, in case it wasn't obvious by, the haircut and everything, I'm a trans guy. I haven't undergone any medical transition, though I am socially transitioned. None of this changes my status on whether or not I am a guy. It's just, do you identify as a man? Grats, you're a man. Now, the reason I bring this up is because when talking about your character, you use female pronouns. You specifically casted a cis actress, cis meaning identifies with the gender assigned to them at birth. In this case, you would cast Elle Fanning, who is someone who was assigned female at birth and still identifies as female, as a trans man. Now, casting cis actors in trans roles is a fairly common practice in the media. I think it mainly stems from the fact that a lot of the actors we have well known are cis. So if you want to get a big name in your movie, you're often going to look towards someone who will, get you that fame, rather than a trans actor or actress who maybe isn't as famous yet. However, here's the thing. By casting cis actors in trans roles, you are implying that a trans person is essentially the gender they were assigned at birth. By casting a man in the role of a trans woman, you're basically saying that the trans woman identity isn't real. She's really just a guy. And, I understand that you may look at it and say, well, they haven't transitioned yet. They look physically like a guy, but here's the thing. There are actors and actresses who are pre-transition trans people. I'm sure you can find them. I'll come act for you if you want. However, I understand that that's common practice in Hollywood. This is a big budget film. Okay, I'll give it to you. Here's the thing. When you're talking about your character, he is a man. Using female pronouns to talk about a trans character, sort of just shows that you don't understand what movie you just made. There are quotes from interviews with you, where it's very clear that you're mostly just sensationalizing it, and that you genuinely don't understand transgender people. For example, I could not have chosen a more blonde, more feminine actress who has big a mountain to climb. That definitely just sounds like, we're something to put in a cage and laugh as we try so hard to become the gender we are. You can be a guy and still be feminine or blonde. I know plenty of guys who are feminine and blonde. I'm sort of blonde. I'm not particularly feminine. So, that's a weird sentence, but okay, we'll go with it. The part is a girl. This is another quote, I'm sorry. The part is a girl, and she is a girl who is presenting in a very ineffectual way as a boy. Just to go over something I said earlier, trans people are the gender they are. If someone's a guy, they're a guy. You don't get to say that they're like a girl who's trying to be a guy. They're not trying. They are. Just going over, I'm just going to read out quotes and then address the whole thing, but she's not pretending to have a deeper voice. She's just a girl who is being herself, and is chasing the opportunity to start hormone treatment. The thing is here that there is no line to when you become a trans guy. You don't have to, lift this many weights, or have a voice in this octave, or have started hormone treatment, or have gotten top surgery or bottom surgery. You don't even have to be out yet. There's no guidelines for when suddenly you stop being a girl who's trying to be a guy and you start being a guy. It's just, if you're a guy, you are a guy. And if someone's a guy, you talk about them with male pronouns. You don't talk about them as though they're a girl trying to be something they're not. Ray is fictional, first off, but ignoring the fact that he's fictional and remembering that this is something that many, many trans teens face every day, Ray is a man. He uses he pronouns. He's a guy, no matter how much muscle he has, or what voice he has, or whether or not he has breasts. And finally, a last quote from you. So to actually use a trans guy, a trans boy, was not an option, because this isn't what my story is about. Forgive me for saying this, but you just made a movie about a trans boy. That's exactly what your story is about. Using a trans actor is entirely possible. I think you seem to think that the magical label trans means that they've medically transitioned and look like the socially accepted definition of the gender they are. And it doesn't. Trans means you identify as something other than what you're assigned at birth. It's that simple. You could 100% use a trans actor. It'd be fantastic. We'd all cheer. Trust me, you'd have every trans kid out to the theater. Please do a little more research before you put this movie out. The trailer looks fantastic, but I'm so ready to be disappointed. I really want good things for this movie. I don't want to see it flop. Hollywood will blame it on the trans character, and I don't want to see that. Please do your research. The end.